masses. Today's Tuesday, August 30th, 243 days into the new year, just 123 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your oh-so-humble host, Jimmy Church. And what is cracking, everybody? All right. Tonight, continuing our two straight pure weeks of UFO coverage, we have with us Tom DeLonge. And my friends, Tom has something to say. He is on a mission. So fold up your tray tables, move your seat to its upright position. Tonight, our guest is Tom DeLonge. Now, tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe will be back with us. And then on Thursday night, David Icke is back, and he's taking a night off from his worldwide wake-up tour to hang out on Fade to Black. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. I'll see if I can talk Tom into taking some phone calls tonight. I didn't talk to him about that earlier. I don't want to blindside him, but we'll see what's up with that. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube, everything is Fade to Black, Jimmy Church Radio. You know what to do. Follow, like, and subscribe. Just go over to the website. You can also email throughout the show. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Very simple. Just make the email good. Get it past the producers, and maybe I'll read it on the air. The sandbox in Twitter is hashtag F2B. That's F2B, hashtag F2B. We don't bite tonight. We will probably go through 2, 3, 4, 5,000 tweets. Tonight we have Mr. DeLonge with us, so I don't know. Maybe we'll kick it up past our average of 5,000 and see what's happening. But what you want to do is hashtag F2B and jump in and join us tonight. We are interactive on the show, as is every show. So all of the chat rooms and everything is in front of me. And come and hang out and do it in real time with all of us. All right, now a couple of announcements really quick. Just for the Fadernauts. And I want to thank Tom and his team for this today. You can get Secret Machines Book 1, Chasing Shadows, and use the promo code FADE2BLACK, that's FADE2BLACK with no spaces, for 15% off. We have a banner set up right now over at jimmychurchradio.com. Just click and head over to his company site, which is tothestars.media. The special offer is good for the next week. And again, thank you, Tom, and his amazing team that worked with us today to get this set up just for you. All right. Now, David Icke will be with us this Thursday on the show. But you can also see him live next month on his worldwide wake-up tour right here in the good old U.S. of A. Just click on his banner over at jimmychurchradio.com for tickets and info. And while you're there, go visit CCCP Publishing as well. Just click on their banner right now at jimmychurchradio.com and purchase Future Esoteric by author Brad Olson for a very special Fadernaut price of $12.97, and they'll throw in another book for free. Just use the promo code Jimmy. And also our other sponsors, Life Change Tea, getthetea.com. Just use the promo code Jimmy either over the phone or online, and you'll get free shipping. And, of course, the Studio Dome Fadernaut special. I'm into music. That's what I do. I like to have my Van Halen on the go, all right? And there's Studio Dome Fadernaut special is a true wireless stereo, Bluetooth stereo system for just $129. Just use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll get 60% off the normal price of $399, and you'll get free shipping. And it's in a hard shell case. That's what I'm talking about. Got all the stuff out of the way. Let's get this show cracking. All right? Happy birthday to Garrett. That's right, Garrett. Garrett is 6 years old today. It's his birthday. So Garrett, you're allowed to stay up and listen to Tom DeLonge tonight. Tell your dad I said so. It's that simple. Comedian Lewis Black today is 68. And that's all I've really got because I want to get to Tom DeLonge. On this day in history in 1963, the United States and Soviet hotline goes into operation. That thing is real, by the way. And that kicked off in 1963. And a fader fact for tonight's show, NASA has discovered over 3,200 planets, all confirmed with 99% certainty. And it's NASA. Take it for what it's worth. All right, continuing our week 2 of pure UFO coverage tonight. Tom DeLonge is with us. Tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe. Thursday night, David Icke. But first up, let's do it. He's in the batter's box. Tom DeLonge. He is a musician. He's a singer. He's a songwriter, record producer, entrepreneur, and a film producer. He is currently the guitarist and lead vocalist of the rock band Angels and Airwaves and was the guitarist and co-lead vocalist of the American rock band Blink-182 from 1992 to 2015. DeLonge wrote Secret Machines Book 1, Chasing Shadows, a 700-page novel he co-authored with Professor A.J. Hartley. Though fictional, it's written with information DeLonge says he gleaned from sources within the aerospace industry and the Department of Defense and NASA. Chasing Shadows theorizes that alien technology not only exists, but that the government has known about it for decades and has even replicated some of it. Tonight, we will talk about Secret Machines and his current project, Poet Anderson, and I think we're going to get a little music in for good measure. His website, of course, is tothestars.media, and I would like to welcome for the first time on Fade to Black, Mr. Tom DeLonge. Tom, good evening.
Well, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tom, and I'm gonna let the listeners know out of the gate with a wink and a nod that Tom is broadcasting to us from a secret location, mobile style, somewhere in Southern California, and for security purposes only, right, Tom?
Yes, that would that would be. I'm as secret as it gets, but my mobile phone is not always the best. So if you do lose me, it's either that I've been snatched and grabbed, or my iPhone just broke out.
Just keep your eyes in the rear view mirror, as they say, right?
You know what's funny, and I'm being totally serious right now. I was driving up I had to go brief two very important people on some stuff that just happened over the past week and a half. And I was driving north of Los Angeles, and I decided to go off and get a cup of coffee. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and I said, you know what? This would be quite the time for someone to be following me because of the last things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Right. And so I said, you know, I'm gonna check my mirror as I get off the road. So I turn my blinker and I change lanes. And like 200 yards behind me, this car just changes lanes. And then I said, okay, well, then I'm going to change the blinker right before it turns off the freeway and just skip that exit. So I did that. And right when I did that, that car did it again.
What?
And then I changed lanes to the right one more time. Then that car did it one more time. And then I changed left the last time and didn't get off on the second off-ramp, and then it finally got off. But it did it. It copied my exact movement like 4 times. And it freaked me out. But then then they just left, and I was just going, oh, my God, I'm getting paranoid here.
Yeah, right. And that's not really paranoid. That's strange. Not you, the car, right? I'm with you on that. When something like that happens, when you are acting in a arbitrary way, in a random way, they're not acting in a random way, right? That's strange. So now, listen, really quick, you get the first-time guest disclaimer, and I know that you're a fan of Fade to Black and the things that I do and stuff, so you've heard this before, but you get it tonight. You get the first-time guest disclaimer, which is it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. Where we start, where we end, but we're going to end as friends. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. I wanted to get a little music out of the way first, and for the fans, I want to do a couple of things about music before we start to hit the ground running. But the one question that I have, which is an important one. Poway, Blink 182, that era back in the early 90s when things were coming together for you and the band, did you guys have any idea at that point that you would have the influence, not with your fans, because that came later, but with other musicians and other bands? You know, like Van Halen did in the early 80s, you know, and what they did on the Strip, and other bands that influence other bands and musicians and the way that they write and admire you. Did you even have a clue that that was about to explode on you?
Oh, God, no. I mean, I look at, like, Van Halen, they play their instruments, you know. We couldn't. And until Travis came in the band, no one could play their instruments in our band. We were barely getting by, as any little garage punk rock band would. I remember our first show where nobody came, not one person, and this guy sweeping up this bar where we played comes up, and he's still holding the broom, and we're packing up because we played just him. And as we're packing up, he goes, "You know what? Don't break up. Stick with it. I hear something there. I hear something there." And he just kept sleeping, But that was all I needed at the time. That made me go, man, someone likes us, you know.
Right. Hey, ditch the microphone. Go straight with the Sekret cell phone.
Okay, good.
Okay. And the thing is, and the reason why I ask that question is as direct as I do, is the sound and everything that you guys put together. You could hear on the radio with so many bands for years to come. And that comes out of respect, right, from other musicians. But when you listen to other bands, were you like, man, that's us?
Yeah, you know what? But when I listen to my own band, I go, man, that's the Descendants. You know, like there's punk rock bands that we listen to that we sound like, that people don't know exist, that are better.
Right.
Like that. But I think, there's a time and place for everything. I think we developed our own style. I think that we figured out how to be us, and you got to do it when you're a band. But yeah, throughout the 90s and through the next decade in the 2000s, hearing so many pop punk bands, I mean, it's so flattering.
And
I was always looking for something more progressive,
And I wanted to two other quick questions. I'm a guitar player, so player to guitar player. My guy, I really look up to Eddie Van Halen. Right, he's my cat. He's good. Yeah, there's a bunch of other guys out there. For you, I'm very curious because you developed your own style of songwriting and playing. It's very distinct. Who was the guitar player that you looked up to?
It would have been, punk rock guys like Brian Baker, Minor Threat, and Dag Nasty. He was also in Bad Religion. Frank Nevada, these guys, Descendants. These are Stephen Egerton, which was in Descendants as well.
Right.
These are guys that are very riffy, that are very easy on the solos, more power chords than anything. If anybody was good at their instrument, me as a punk rock kid was suspicious. We were suspicious that, you're not really a punker because punkers have nothing, come from broken families, and barely can afford a guitar, let alone play one. So the guys that could do solos and stuff were just, we didn't classify them as the same culture as us. So I didn't really, it wasn't about how good you played, because that was nothing. That's why I don't really have guitar players I look up to, because that was totally beside the point. The point was, does the band emote a feeling of angst, rebellion, and a new view of the world? And that's what it was about. Who we could care less. We couldn't care less about how good you played your instruments. That had nothing to do with it, I guess, is a better way to put it.
Yeah, and for you guys, I don't know how to describe you, because saying power pop punk, I think, is being too generalistic, but you did have the ability to write choruses that made the world sing, right? That's difficult to do. So that's that's kind of a pop thing, but it is hardcore punk, and it is your childhood and everything that was incorporated in the songs. But that being said, what most people, I think, and critics included, failed to realize that the musicians in the band were top. You guys were top tier stuff, and could have branched into other styles and songwriting and maybe done a concept album. Did you ever consider taking all of that talent into another direction?
Well, number one, I appreciate that you're so nice with your words and the compliments. Thank you. We did a record that was a self-titled Blink record that was as close to a concept record as a band like us would ever do. We were always fearful of sounding pretentious, or doing something as a vanity project. The culture we come from is against those types of things. But I definitely got deeper into that kind of stuff with my other band, Angels and Airwaves. But that's just something you do when you grow as an artist. But with Blink, when Travis is the kind of drummer that can play anything. I mean, anything. You could say, let's do a jazz song, and he'll do it. But what we thought was more interesting is, like, what's a jazz drum beat in the middle of a punk rock song sound like? And that's really where the band started to change and morph, was what kind, we were only three guys. So I had to play a lead guitar and a rhythm guitar at the same time. That's where all my things are very riffy, because the rhythm guitar is very simple. It's just like a couple chords. A lead guitar is usually more complex. It's solos and stuff. But what do you get when you blend them? You get a riff. It's like a very simple lead solo power chord thing. And the same thing with the bass. Mark wouldn't just play notes. He would strum the bass like a rhythm guitar, because we're trying to fill up the space. But when you have that much space, because there's only three musicians, then Travis was able to get really interesting with the drum beats and the patterns. And I think when you put all those things together, it wasn't your typical power pop band, but the vocals were, so then people are like, well, what is it exactly? Well, I don't know. We were doing it, 25 years ago, and guys with mohawks were coming.
Right.
And then now it's kind of like everyone, so there used to be fist fights. We used to play and have half the audience in the back of the room was Hell's Angels, and the other half were jocks from the UC Santa Barbara.
Right.
And they would get, these bottles were flowing and riots were breaking out, and all the punkers in the middle were still in the circle pits. And all that changed once you brought an MTV, so you never quite know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's really funny with Travis. He's so ridiculously, stupidly talented, right? You could tell that he just, if he wanted to at any moment, he could just break off, and he was definitely holding back. He was is an immense talent.
Yeah, he literally is the best drummer I have ever seen, like, on earth. He really is that good. Like, I mean, and I've played with, like, really, really good two other guys that people think are two of the other best drummers on earth, and Travis is the only guy that can do one song or one take on the entire song the first time, and it sounds like it's been edited, and no one knows why it's so perfect.
Yeah, there's nothing like drummers like that. They just, go in, get it done, and then they split the studio,
I know. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is the thing. This is what I find strange, is that your departure in 2015 for this new endeavor, an epiphany in life, if you will, comes along, and the press and the media was so quick to jump on Tom is throwing it all away for this crazy thing. He's giving it all. He's throwing it away. And I never looked at it that way, but I don't know if they did it because they wanted to be sensationalistic in their headlines and the way that, they wanted clicks, or maybe I was wrong. But who's right here? You're not throwing anything away, are you?
Oh my God. People have no idea. They just have literally no idea the enormity of what I'm involved in right now. Like, I think people are just, you know, I think people look at like something like the band and kind of go, that is my ultimate dream situation. He is so lucky. If I had that, oh my, okay, what I was trying to say was I feel that way, you know, about the band, where you're so lucky to have it and you just want to protect it and you can't believe it came into your life. But, you know, then there's this damn one issue of UFOs, right?
Right.
Where I've been studying it for so long and I just can't get out of my head, you know, what the hell is going on? So for 25 some years, I would read every book I could, watch every video I could, would listen to every lecture I could as I fall asleep every single night. Every tour I went on, it was an obsession, and it never got easier. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it never like lightened up on me. So here comes this time where I have the opportunity to talk to somebody that I knew what was going on. And so I did something kind of interesting, and you got to let me know if my phone's a little weird, but I took the opportunity kind of by the horns, and I did something that actually, if you know, you would see somebody probably do with an intelligence service. I went to this person's family member, and I go, hey, does your so-and-so ever talk to you about UFOs? And this person was a fan of mine, so I knew they would tell me the truth.
Right.
You know, and they go, hell yeah. And I said, thanks, bud. Walked away. And I said, now I'm not going to let it go with this other guy.
Right.
So then I got some moments alone with that guy, and this person, you know, I pitched an idea, and this person says, we can't have anything to do whatsoever with that topic, because there has never been one bit of evidence whatsoever that it exists. And I asked, and I looked at everybody, I said, can everyone leave the room? Keep in mind, I'm in a secure installation.
Okay.
I went through machine guns. And at first I had to go to a building and get a badge, my ID, and fingerprints. Then I took that badge and I had to go through guard shacks with machine guns. Then I had to go to a very specific building. I had to leave my phone in a box. And then I go through 2 security scanning kind of devices. Then I'm in a hallway. That hallway has speakers playing white noise. So it's, you know, it's that
Right.
white noise so no one can hear each other's conversations.
Right.
Then I go through another set of doors that has all these electric locks on them. And inside there were like 5 offices with no windows, and it's the heart of the place where all the real stuff happens. And it was in that area, in one of the rooms, where I looked at everybody and asked them to leave except for this one person. After he told me none of this stuff exists. As soon as they left, I shut the door and I said, sir, I understand the national security implications of this. I am not naive to this subject, and I do know that it is a very tricky and fragile subject. But I have an idea that I think you will find merit in if you just hear me out. But I am here asking for guidance and permission before I do this, because I do not want to scare anybody. I do not want to break any rules, and I do not want to do the wrong thing, because I'm an advocate, because I'm one of the few people out there that believe the UFO phenomenon is much more complex and much more disturbing than most people think it is. And then he looked at me, and before they got, and then I finished, and I said, and I think the government has done some things that is kind of bad with this subject. And then he looked at me and he goes, what are some of those things that the government has done? And I said, okay. And so I brought up a story, and I told him a story that I don't want to repeat here. And he goes, okay. And he rolls his eyes like saying something like, yeah, that's a difficult thing that you just said, you know? And he says, and then I said, well, let me do something. Let me send you some material. and just for you. I'm not going to send it to anybody else that was in those rooms. And let me send you some material. And he says, okay. So I walk out of that room, and I say goodbye to 2 other people that were the heads of that institution that worked directly under that person. And I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm still in the most secure area of this place. And they say, I said, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for having me. I hope I get to speak to you guys again. But until that time, thank you. And they said, well, where are you going? And I said, well, I thought the meeting was done. Oh, no, why don't you stay a while? And then I was like, whoa, okay. So come over here. So we walk into another room, and we sit down. And they said, what do you want to talk about? And then I look at them both totally baffled, and I'm like, well, you know what I want to talk about. And they said, what's that? And they look at me with a smirk. And I say, UFOs. And they don't look at each other. They stare at me. They're real. They exist. Who cares? And I say, well, it's a pretty big effing deal, don't you think? And they go, why? And so I name off about 10 reasons why. And the other guy looks at me, he's all, I just want to know how they work. Tell me how they work. And I said, well, I have some ideas. And I mentioned something. He says, well, that's one way. He said, what's another? And I say, consciousness. He said, now you're talking.
What?
So we proceeded to talk about consciousness for about 45 minutes.
Hey, Tom, I gotta take a break right here. So let's do that. We're gonna finish. That's a good place to take a break right there. All right. And our guest tonight is Tom DeLonge, and we're gonna do it all tonight. So everybody, just sit tight, relax. Like I said, we might even still get a little bit of music in, but tonight it's about the UFO cover-up and why. I want to know why he decided to take this turn in his life. I have no other polite way to put it, and we're going to do all of that tonight. Our guest is Tom DeLonge. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
Hi, folks. Ronnie here reminding you that June is Health Awareness Month, sponsored by GetTheTea.com. Many of you have heard our tea commercial, maybe visited the website, but haven't committed because, well, you just don't know. Skeptical. We understand. Just to remind you, our tea is not just tea. In fact, very little tea. Life Change Tea is a unique blend of 8 different herbs, removing intruders that attack your health. You brew our tea to make the concentrate, you add water, and put in the fridge. 2 8-ounce glasses a day, and life will be good. Visit us at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. And this month is lots of fun stuff with Health Awareness Month. You could be picked and receive your order absolutely free. You never know. Read the testimonies and try our products. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. And for great health tips, visit my YouTube channel at Health Matters Now, where you can learn about health tips and how products work on your body. Join me, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Klutsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Tom DeLonge. And just for the Fader Knots, Tom and his team have put together a special deal for you right now. You can get Secret Machines Book 1, Chasing Shadows. Just use the promo code Fade to Black. That's Fade to Black with no spaces for 15% off. We have a banner up over at the website. Just go and click. It'll take you to the Stars Media. And while you're there, check out all of the products and Poet Anderson too as well. And let's get straight back to it. Tom, when that's a very awesome word that you used with them, consciousness, right? And
yeah,
and that must have seriously for them probably took them by surprise. But to have them concur, you knew that you were on the right path. What happened next?
We had a discussion for 55 minutes about consciousness. One of the more important things I'm going to share it with you guys of this evening is that the UFO phenomenon is tied to consciousness. And for a lot of people, that's going to be very hard to understand because they think it's this hokey-pokey, spiritual, interdimensional, like it's whatever your mind goes to, when people say the word consciousness. But what you need to understand is that the universe itself and all things in it contain some very, very interesting properties and life forms. And what the UFO phenomenon is connected to has a lot to do with not only with us as a life form, humanity. If you were able to take a person and lay them down and put measurement tools all around their body and measure frequencies, but you would be able to pick up the aura. You would be able to pick up electromagnetic frequencies that are emanating from the human being. And the human being, if that person was happy, sad, angry, jealous, all those things are certain types of frequencies. But for the basis of this conversation, let's say all the good things you feel or all the bad things you feel. Okay, the UFO phenomenon is interested in the bad things, and it brings along a lot of bad things. But the good news is that when a human being feels good, when a human being feels love, when a human being feels happiness, that energy, if I had the tools and I could walk up to you and measure it and show you on a computer screen, you have this energy that's like 98.84 hertz. It's coming from you right now. Whatever that frequency of happiness and love is it's a death nuke missile straight to the UFO. And over the years, we found that out, and we are trying to understand it, but it's really, really complex stuff. And every turn we take, we find out something new. That might be a lie, that might be deceptive, that might be a trick, that might be who knows what. So you have all these incredibly heroic, amazing people working their asses off trying to understand something that humanity has never had to understand before. This whole idea of a bad government or a cabal, or people that are trying just to steal the tech for their own money and secret space program. It's just so dumb. It is not what's going on. It's a bunch of people like your dad, your uncle, your neighbors that are read into classified programs and that are changing their pants every other night because they're trying to figure out how to deal with something that is strange and crazy. But there's a really, really great set of things that have come from this. And one of those things is understanding the capacity of a human being that is enlightened, that has those frequencies of human consciousness that are aired on the side of love and happiness and with the way a child feels and all that stuff. We're going to have to accelerate that. And we're going to have to accelerate that in a way that people don't laugh at it. Let me.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Continue.
Let me give you an example. You're in the middle at your house at some point, and you wake up and you have little gray aliens in your room, and you're being abducted. Do you know that if you call out the name of Jesus, that abduction could stop? Or if you call out the name of the source of galactic love, it'll stop. Or if you call out the name of Buddha in the love that Buddhism has or whatever, it'll stop. It doesn't matter what you call out. It's the fact that you are projecting positive energy. And that is something that needs to be understood and studied. But it doesn't mean the stuff's not physical. It is. There still are spaceships that crash. There still are alien bodies. There's still, or biological body. There's still all these things that come with it that we can back engineer, that we can make a new spacecraft, that we can have a better understanding of time and a better understanding of anti-gravity. But it comes with all these other things of human consciousness that we have to understand. And it's very, very complex and difficult. And what I found myself involved in is a little bit of all of it, with all these different groups of people that are involved. And you have physicists in one part studying, the crashed craft. And then you have medical doctors studying the medical issues with abductees or with people that have come in close proximity to one of these craft. And then you have aerospace military people that are seeing these things, and they're sending up things to go and take that thing out of the sky. And then you have psychologists that are meeting with people that have had an experience, and they're trying to understand why that person is having poltergeist experiences in their house, or healed, mysteriously healed. Their cancer's gone, it's like crazy stuff. They're trying to, so it's in all these different places, and that was by design as well. So what I did, this dumb little rock star, I went banging on all those doors and created potentially a conduit for a lot of them to talk to each other. Once that started happening.
Well, let me jump in, Tom, because this is I've wanted to ask you this for a while, and I know that you're aware of it. But have you thought about the way that Paul Benowitz was used and was fed information? I know that you went in with you know your history, right? So now that you know about these other things that have gone out there with the Air Force and the OSI and Doty and all those cats, right? Right. You're fully cognizant and aware that you could possibly be another guy like Paul Benowitz.
No. Because no. And the reason I know.
Well, I don't mean that to.
A lot of people ask me that.
Okay.
It's a fair question.
It is.
Because there's things that I cannot say. there is a whole bunch of stuff that I cannot say. A whole bunch of stuff. Stuff that I went through this week. There were 2 nights in a row where I didn't sleep. And the reason is because some of these different groups of people, when my book came out, freaked a lot of people out, big time,
right.
like really big time, like big time people. And they had no idea how somebody as normal as me, other than the fact that I was in a band, could put together so many facts. And so the big deal was, who do you know and how do you know them? And that I'm trying to figure out how to say some stuff I can't say.
I understand.
What I have here is connections to a lot of different what we call stovepipes. So when you're in government, it's called compartmentalization, and the term they use is a stovepipe, where they put things in compartments that they can't leave those compartments. And all the stovepipes lead to a very, very, very small group of people.
Right.
And I went around, like the dumbass I am, banged on the doors of some very important stovepipes. And then at one point, a very big stovepipe says, "Who the hell are you?" You know, but I had a very interesting pitch, and I said, "I know that you're all probably freaking out and angry and nervous, but let me tell you what I'm thinking." And I pitched something that literally one person laughed out loud and says, "This might actually work." And that something will take place over the next handful of years. Now, what I have to do is respect the fact that this is a much bigger issue than me. This is a much bigger issue than any of us in our little tiny little brains reading dumb conspiracies online and running around on forums and just coming up with all this stupid stuff about, you know, this group of people and globalists and alien agendas and reptile presidents and just stupid stuff. And we all have to sit there and go, okay, let's be mature about it. We're humanity and we're dealing with something, and we're in a very, very pivotal time in our evolution. And we're going to be learning some things and dealing with some things that we always thought was magic, or we always thought were fairy tales, or we always thought was mythology. It's not the case. And there's a reason all those myths exist. And we're going to figure out a way to accept that stuff, and it's going to inevitably cause humanity to explode to a new place that is going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful, but it's going to be a little tricky how we get there. And what's really important is that the message is right, because if some moron comes out and says all of this the wrong way, it's like me going to one of my children and saying, "You know what? I don't want to talk to you about ISIS, but how about I just go onto the internet and find a video where they're beheading people?"
Right.
You know, it's
yeah.
You know, you don't want to do it that way. You know,
Well,
ISIS exists, but guess what? We can go and drop a nuke on them if we want to. So it's not like ISIS is like more powerful than we are. You know, that's not the case. But it's bad news at the same time. You know, so the way you talk to your kid is super important, and that's really what's been going on for 70 some years, is figuring out, you know, strategies to comprehend and outwit before we educate, if that makes sense.
And you know what's interesting here, Tom, is that going to different websites, I'm talking about, you know, fans or researchers out there going and reading about the reptilian president or what have you, the cabal, it is that people are searching for answers because they know something is going on. They're not accepting.
Exactly.
Right. And so
exactly. Yes.
And that's the other part of it. And so with you, and this is what I find very, very interesting, is that you and I think a lot alike in that you have a fan base that you influence, and it's not a 70-year-old fan base, right, from the old school. We're talking about a younger generation that is open-minded and understands that something is going on. And when somebody like you speaks to them, they're going to stop and listen. And I think that who you are dealing with now recognizes that fact. And you would be a very, very important conduit for them to, if there was going to be a plan to move forward, that somebody like you with that, because your fan base isn't going to look at you like you're crazy. They're going to go, man, I know he's talking sense, right?
I hope so. I hope that's what they think. I mean, I really don't expect people to believe everything I'm saying right now. By the time we start releasing some more stuff in the future, including the documentary stuff and major motion pictures and nonfiction books, we have a nonfiction book getting ready to drop here in the next couple of months. People are going to start to go, wow, holy cow, he wasn't lying. And I'm going to sit there and look at all the people and go, you guys have no idea where I'm at and who I'm dealing with. And they could talk about it all they want, and they could write articles about it, and they could say stupid stuff like I quit my band to find aliens. No, that's not what it is. I'm doing something for the country with very important people that will affect the whole world. And I made my way in there with a plan that I think may help. I don't think I'm going to change the world. I really don't. But I do want to be one of the sparks with a lot of other sparks that do that. And when that fire ignites, it's going to be pretty effing awesome. And it's not because that we're going to come out and say UFOs are real. Well, guess what? UFOs are bad news. Deal with it. They just are. But they're going to come out and say, this is what we found out, this is what we did, and this is what we're doing, and this is where human race is going. And guess what? Consciousness is incredible. And guess what? There is a God, but it's not a God that looks like Buddha or has Birkenstocks or whatever. It's an infinite, beautiful energy that connects all of us, that creates stars, okay? That creates galaxies. Like, it's a powerful energy. And that energy is very important. And when humanity figures out how to be more in touch with that, and I don't know how yet. Like, I'm not saying I figured this out. I just know the UFO phenomenon is attached to that subject. And when I was behind machine guns and 4 layers of crazy doors and in a secure facility, that is all the head scientist wanted to talk about.
I want to. I'm writing down. God doesn't wear Birkenstocks. I'm writing that.
I know.
Down. Yeah, right.
Isn't that should be like that should probably be like a T-shirt.
It is
right?
a T-shirt.
Should I make that a T-shirt?
No, I'm going to do it first. I'll license it to you.
You know who's going to be really angry at that comment is my mom.
Yeah, mine too.
Dude, I grew up in a Christian household. My dad wasn't, but my mom was, and so to this day, I'm literally parked in front of a church right now. Right now, I'm parked in front of a church, and I'm looking at this church sign. I'm just like, God, there's gonna be a lot of people that are pissed.
Yeah, expect a lightning bolt, Tom. Expect a lightning bolt. And before we head to the break, I want to come back after this break, and I want to get back into the consciousness and the technology part because I find that interesting and a couple of things, but. I read once, and I want you to tell the story. We have 5 minutes, and I think we can get it in. I read once about you camping, and I think it was at Area 51. And when you came running out of your tent in the morning, can you share with us that story?
Like a moron and the idiot I am, I did something that I don't want to say here because I don't want other people doing it, of trying to have an experience. And it worked. And I woke up in the middle of the night with hundreds of voices spiraling through the tent. But I had that sleep paralysis where I couldn't move. And I knew at that moment I was really in over my head because I was awake as I am now, but I can't move, and I hear hundreds and hundreds of voices, but I can't make out any words. I close my eyes and I open them again, and the fire is out, and 2 or 3 hours has passed. So let me give you an idea of something that happened not too kind of recently. When someone comes from a certain place and sits down with you in a very private location and says, there are no coincidences with the phenomenon. I need to know about your contact. And that's a true story. And so I had to go in and spend 10 hours talking about it and a lot of other things, but it's, people can laugh, but when you talk to, let me see how I could say this. I was briefed on a matter, and it was a very important event that went down, and the description of the event was part military, part spiritual. So what do you walk away with that? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
And that's really how people have to look at all this stuff. Don't break out the Bible, break out every ancient text and put it all together and then come up with a hypothesis, And it's not spiritual like the religions we built on those texts. It's spiritual like many bands of light in the universe and many things we can't see unless we have night vision goggles on and a flashlight or something. There's a lot of things that exist here that are real and you just can't really see it, and it's all very normal biological, physical stuff. But we call it spiritual because we can't see it when it's 2 p.m,
Growing up in Poway, and for people that are listening right now, that area, San Marcos, that area is a very, very beautiful part of San Diego. And it's mountainous and it's beautiful and it's suburbia too as well. It's that. But it's a beautiful place. Did you see something in the skies when you were young that started to maybe throw you down this road?
No, that's the thing. I don't know where it started, but I know when it started, and I know it was the 7th grade. But it's the biggest, I had the most important and almost the most scared I've ever been not too long ago, where someone sat down across the table from me and I had to do some really hardcore explaining about my project. Okay. And leaning across the table, this person pounds on the table and says, "This is the story of the millennia." And I will never forget how it was said to me, because that's exactly how I felt my entire life.
Was this, and you could tap your foot for yes once, and then tap your foot no, or for twice for no.
Let's just stop. I'd rather you not even ask. I'm being serious. I don't know what you're going to ask, but I'd rather move forward and move on.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll be light with it. Was this a military guy? Military-ish?
No, let's just move forward.
Okay.
We talked about this before the call, and let's just move on.
Yeah, I'm just trying to visualize the room. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're going to take a break right here, Tom. And when we come back, I want to jump back into the consciousness side of this. And the reason why I want to do that is I have always thought, and this is what you alluded to, and I think this is a very important point for everybody. If we are dealing with ET, off-world civilizations, potentially 1 million years more advanced than us, how could we possibly even remotely understand or comprehend what we're dealing with. It's not what we're dealing with today in our technical life that we live. It is something that is far more advanced than us, and consciousness is they would have evolved into something that we don't understand yet. And I think that's very important, and I want to really get deep into that right after the break. Our guest today is Tom DeLonge. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us, everybody.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
Fade or not, things are never what they seem. For the past century, forbidden subjects such as UFOs, backward engineering, human abductions, secret space programs, underground bases, suppressed free energy devices, and other fantastic notions have tested the human mind, forcing it to decipher fact from fiction. Chronicling what he calls the alternative narrative, author Brad Olson gets down to the middle of it all in his best-selling book, Future Esoteric, now released in a second edition by CCC Publishing. And now, you can get Future Esoteric at a special price, plus another free book by just using the promo code Jimmy when you check out. Just click on the Future Esoteric or CCC Publishing banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Go Beckley Teppy. IRA and 401k account holders, are you crossing your fingers for the stock market to continue its bull run? Or hoping for a miracle to pay off our $19 trillion national debt? American Bullion wants you to think for a moment. If we go through another significant stock market correction and things begin to unravel, you could suffer some serious losses. On the other hand, gold is a proven long-term asset that could hedge and protect your retirement accounts from getting washed away. Call American Bullion now and let them show you how easy it is to transfer your existing IRA or roll over your 401k into a gold IRA. American Bullion has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and is a leader in gold IRAs. With just one call, their experts can explain everything there is to know and get you started with a free gold IRA guide. Call 1-800-545-2525. Don't procrastinate. Save your retirement. Call American Bullion now at 1-800-545-2525. That's 1-800-545-2525.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
What's up, Fade or Nots? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring two Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The two full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight we have Tom DeLonge with us. As we all know, he's a musician, singer, songwriter, record producer, entrepreneur, and a film producer. He just wrote Secret Machines, Book 1, Chasing Shadows, with Professor A.J. Hartley, and they have a special promotion that they're doing with us and the Fadernauts. Just go to the website, jimmychurchradio.com. Click right there, and it'll take you to thestars.media, where you can get 15% off of the book right now for the next 7 days. Just enter the promo code FADE2BLACK with no spaces. I wanted to ask you, Tom, really quick. You gave us about a 2-month timetable for the nonfiction book to drop. What about the documentary?
You know, we had it almost ready to launch a piece of it, right? But let's just say, in the past 2 weeks, there's a lot of new things to consider, and so I got to get it right, and I got to rethink some stuff, and yeah, let's just leave it there. But I want to correct something about our little conversation about God doesn't wear Birkenstocks, because I know people are going to freak out. When I was going to church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, and then being dragged every Wednesday night, I had all that same exact belief structure, that I was going to burn in hell if I didn't do something right, and that there's a war in heaven, and there was, just all the standard stuff they teach you in Bible school. I mean, I was a hardcore kid because I was forced to be because of my parents, but that's what I was born into. That's what I believed. When I started touring with my band, and we actually went to the Middle East, and I saw all these people in religions that were like way older than mine, and they didn't give two craps about my religion. Theirs is older, and they're way into. I was just thinking, like, well, what makes mine the right one and theirs the wrong one? Other than I can point to certain things, but really I don't know enough about all the world religions. So I kind of left the idea of God. So here I am, just turned 40, and like for many years, when I was a kid, I was all into Jesus and God, and then I started touring, and I was like, I'm not into any of it. It's so bad. It's like more the Christian religion has killed more people than any of all the wars put together. So I was that kind of guy. Well, now over this past year, I've come back again, but it's different. So I'm not here to tell people there's no God. I'm telling people I am 3 trillion% that there is a God. Absolutely. I will stake my life on it, and it is absolute with me. But it is not a person, and it is not some dude that wears a toga and floats up into the sky and makes Jupiter. It doesn't work that way. It's the way Einstein described it, where it's all the physical laws of the universe summed up into one. It's beautiful love, consciousness that's in the center of a galaxy that explodes out and creates stars, and those stars create planets, and on some of those planets little human beings pop up, and all those human beings have a ball of light somewhere inside their heart or their mind that is getting a direct radio signal from the core, from the source, from God, and that is truthfully how the universe works. And I think what's going to happen here is when everyone realizes that, they're going to stop and put their guns down and kind of go, I'm so sorry for shooting you, because I was kind of talking about the same thing as you, but I put a person before the God, and my person was called Jesus, or my person was called Allah, or my person was called, whatever, I don't know. And they're going to realize, no, it's the thing that all those people were talking about. Oh, it's that bigger energy. Oh, yeah. That's why when that's the kind of stuff that people need to imagine. But it takes the human race to leave our planet and see a solar system and see a galaxy and a nebula and kind of go, wow, no human created that. You know,
right?
It's a power that creates black holes and binary star systems and nebula and like crazy things that are. I mean, who created the sun? It's millions of times bigger than the Earth, and it's trillions of hydrogen bombs going off every second. That's a lot of power.
Right.
Who created that?
Right.
You know,
right.
something powerful. That's my point. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, 100%. And to that end, what do you think about the last 3 months with different astronomers coming forward about this discovery at KIC, whatever, and light diffraction out there, and this, SETI this week announcing this signal at 11K of all things. You're a musician, you're a producer, 11K is the frequency of cymbals, right? You're mixing a record, you want to sweeten up a little 11K on the drum set, right? I know what 11K is. This is a radio signal in a narrow band at 11K coming from a star, and it seems like there's a lot of chatter right now. And the discovery of Proxima Centauri last week of a habitable planet out there, the star closest to us, oddly enough, is the last planet we find is the one that's closest to us, right? So,
I'll find out. It's funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. But there's a lot of chatter right now about alien life out there that we're searching for.
And wouldn't that be? Isn't that serendipitous, right?
Right.
Isn't that a coincidence, right? So, once again, I know what the hell I'm doing, all right? I didn't just walk off a stage, in front of 100,000 people to go do dumb shit. I know what I'm doing. And I'll tell you that how it was told to me, the universe is teeming with life, okay? Teeming, not just like, hey, we might find a little bit over here and there. Teeming. You have intelligences at all different levels on different planets. You have organic intelligence, which is like human beings, lots of humans, super advanced humans, superhumans with telepathic powers, and some humans that are just like us, some humans that are cavemen. You also have inorganic beings. You have beings that are on rock planets and gas planets that oxygen's poisonous to them, right? You also have weird bands of light that are alive, that swim like worms in the vacuum of space, the way a whale does in an ocean, okay? Sure. You have amoebas that are floating around sucking up energy. Those amoebas could be as big as Jupiter, or they could be like a Volkswagen. It's like it's teeming with life. And we were so stuck on ourselves that we never looked up, and I think what's happening now is we're looking up, and there's a very small group of people that looked up a long time before everyone else and had to get it understood, and then they would go to NASA and say, okay, it's okay for you to look up now, so it's an interesting story, man. It is the story of the millennia. It really is. It's incredible.
Do you have night vision?
I do.
And
I have night vision, and that I can't even leave the country with. I had to fill out State Department papers. It's so funny.
I bet
it's
you
so
do.
Funny. Oh.
Is it now? I know that you've heard about our little experience in that mass sighting we had out of the contact in the desert a few months ago. And and what I saw out there, I can't. I'm not even going to try to explain or hypothesize what I saw. All I saw is what I saw, and it seemed to be, going back to this consciousness thing. It seemed to be for us. At least I kind of felt that way. I've never had an experience like that before. But when I threw the night vision on this thing that I was watching leave the atmosphere, it took about 5 minutes. And I'm watching it. It's obviously a physical craft. I can see the shape of it and kind of the surface of it and stuff. It looked like green chrome is the way I've been describing it, like a Christmas ornament, right? And now it seemed to be for us like they were winking at us. I really kind of walked away with that feeling. Is that because of the consciousness that was there, the positive vibes that we were throwing off? I mean, is that a possibility? I have no clue. I'm just throwing that out there too.
Let me tell you, It's playing with you. Okay?
Okay.
And that's not a good thing. But everyone there wants to see one so bad that it's going to perform for you.
Right.
And you don't want to be doing that. And I'm not saying all life out there is bad. I'm saying is people just don't understand. And that's why it's time that people understand. And the whole, there isn't only one type of UFO either. It's like you can't sum it all up and say there's only one type of human being.
Right.
But what you don't want to have happen, and this is honestly, check this out. You want to know why I got brought in to the most secret groups ever? Is because I went in there and I said, something's wrong here. Let me tell you the way I see it. And they said, okay. I said, the way I see it is you have something flying around, and every once in a while it lands and performs a miracle, and it creates a religion. It goes up in the sky, and it does something crazy, and people kind of love it and clap and whatever. But when you really look at it, all the religions are different, and all the experiences are different. And what happened after that? Well, we just started killing each other.
Right.
We really started killing each other, and no one stopped to all look and go, wait, what did you see? What did you see? What was that thing that did that dance? Oh, my God. Oh, my real God.
Right.
What is that thing? And I said, so I went to them with a thesis called a cargo cult. Cargo cults were in World War II where indigenous tribes that had never seen man watched planes come in and drop off ammunition in a jungle, and to this day they still worship those planes. They're worshiping the cargo. And I said, we're all cargo cults. Me and Peter Levinda created this thesis for the nonfiction books. But I went in there and I said, so the first thing it does is it creates religious experiences, then it dances in the sky and Star of Bethlehem type stuff, and you have all these different religions now, and now everyone hates each other, and now we're all killing each other. And then, get this, and then it happens to crash, and it crashes in a few different places, a few different countries, in a few different ways. And then what happens? We got better weapons of war now, big weapons of war. Yeah, now we have the nuke. Now we have anti-gravity craft. Now we have all these things. And so I'm sitting here telling these guys this. I'm going, something smells fishy to me, really fishy. And right at that point when I said that, is when I got a communication that came through that says, meet next to the Pentagon on this date and this time. I'm telling you, dude, my life has been unreal for the past year. But it's the most exciting and nerve-wracking thing at the same time because I'm so in over my head. I don't even know what I'm doing. But I just know that there's something that can happen with young adults and people everywhere to realize and put down their weapons. You know what I told these guys? I said this. I said, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a firefighter. So, I was in this firefighter cadet program. And it all was well until they wanted me to do push-ups and shit, and they were yelling at me I was like, what is it, the military?
Right.
Funny. So I was like, I won't do that. But what was interesting that I never forgot is when you're there, when you have a fire, you don't spray the flame with water. You spray the water at the fuel of the fire, at the bottom, whatever's actually causing the fire. And what no one is doing is spraying the fuel of the fire on Earth right now, of everyone killing each other. And I go, well, what's that fire? It's belief systems. What's responsible for the belief systems? Lights in the sky, religious experience, Joseph Smith on a mountain, Jesus, or this person, or this thing, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's always something, and it's always different, and it's always unique to the time period, to the person who saw it, and to the region that it's in. And it causes a feverish fragmentation of mankind, and that is by design. So right when I said that is when I got some very, very, very serious looks, and they said, we're going to introduce you to some people. And that's how I got in, because I hit the nail on the head. And guess what? They know this.
There's a couple of pictures that have been posted out there of you. I wanted to ask you really quick, what was up with the Bigfoot Instagram yesterday?
I know, how weird is that, right?
Yeah.
I went to that place with a bunch of buddies a couple years, and my fans know it because I was like Instagramming this trip. We wanted to go just do a boys trip. We said, well, let's go find Bigfoot if we're gonna. Well, the only thing we proved was he was not there, like where we went. That was. But reason we went to Happy Camp was one of the guys, my buddy, he goes, oh, I have a cousin who's a firefighter up at this place called Happy Camp. And I was like, well, what's Happy Camp? He said, I don't know. It's like up there, like Humboldt County or something, or on the border of Oregon and California. And he's all, but apparently they just saw Bigfoot like 2 months ago. So they sent us a picture of the footprint. And then we were like, we made T-shirts, got a bunch of beer, and we said, we're going to Happy Camp and we're going to find this smelly beast. So we went up there. We didn't find anything, which was funny. But every once in a while, I'll Instagram a photo and bring up Happy Camp to the friends to the fans that followed it. Well, 2 days ago, my buddy's cousin saw Bigfoot and took that photo.
The photograph, I'm going to tell everybody right now, I'm looking at it right here from Tom's Instagram page. It is bleeping incredible. Now, tell me about the photograph and your friend. It's almost, Tom, you know what? This is too good to be true, right? It's too great.
I know. So the guy was with the fire crew as a ranger fighting the fire when that happened. That's fresh. So it's and it's from
Happy
one
Camp.
person away. Yeah. No. I mean, it's only my really close friend. It's like his family member or something like that. It's that close. It's not far removed. It's a big deal.
Okay. Do I have your permission to? Can I tweet this out to the audience really quick so they know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I don't care.
It is. Okay. I'm just going to tell everybody. It's Bigfoot standing on a trail, in the woods, but he's out in the open. I don't know how far away this is, Tom, but I'm going to say 50 yards, maybe.
I know it's not that far. And it's not National Geographic quality, but. Damn, you don't really see too many that look this good, though.
I know, and the first, like I said, it's just it's too good. It's great, and I don't know how to explain it other than that. So I'm going to tweet it out. I'll let everybody else so they can kind of understand what you're trying to describe here. So this was taken 2 days ago.
Yeah, something like that. It might have bin a few more days. Then I got it. 2 days ago or something, and it was taken a few days before that. It's like this past week kind of thing. I don't have the exact details on it, but it's the real deal. I didn't dig this one up. I dig things up all the time. Hey, if you guys ever want just to be entertained, follow my Instagram. You never know what you're going to get.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do to the stars in this too. I'm going to go ahead and copy you in this so we can make this official. But it raised an eyebrow for me. It's almost as good as, and I know we're kind of building this up a little bit, but it's almost as good as the Patterson footage. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, it's similar to that. Yeah. Well, This is the thing. I will tell you. You know what? There's two things that I learned over the past 6 months that will never ever escape me. Number one, all the ancient myths and texts are right and true. And you have to somehow go through them all to figure out what is being said, and the powers that be, PhDs and high-ranking people and all the top people, know this about those texts and all that stuff, but that the world is magical, the universe is magical, and once you accept that, and once you sit with a guy that has multiple PhDs and he's like a 4-star general, and he's sitting down describing to you something that sounds like a science fiction movie magic, ridiculous stuff. I mean, ridiculous stuff like I was on an email chain with 5 people, and I cannot tell you who any of them are, that kind of group, okay? And they were relaying a story where these guys were sitting at a table, big time government official from one of the Middle Eastern countries, and this other gentleman that was a friend of the government guy from the country they were in. And the government guy was like, hey, show him your magic trick. And the guy's like, no. And then the guy that was sitting at the table, whom one of the men on the conversation knew, was like, it's all right, you don't need to show me. But at the end of the dinner, the guy stands up, he's all, I'll show you the magic trick. And he goes, go into the kitchen and grab anything you want. So the guy leaves the table, he walks into the kitchen, and he grabs a stainless steel fork or spoon or something like that. And he walks in, he goes, put it behind your back. He puts it behind his back, and it bent in half in his hands. The guy bent it in half with his mind.
Not the guy that was doing the bending, but the guy that was the friend that was holding the spoon.
No.
bent.
I know it's hard to describe. The government official brought a friend to dinner.
Right.
And tried to get that friend to perform magic for this guy that's from the United States.
Mm.
And at the end of dinner, the magician says, go grab something out of the kitchen to the American. And the American went in there and grabbed this thing, and he says, hold it behind your back. And he did. And he stared at him, and the thing just bent in half in his hands. And then the government official from that specific country says, I told you. My point with this story is, if you just knew who this American was, you would be crapping your pants. And the other thing is, if you knew who was telling me this story, you'd be crapping your pants. Magic is real. Magic, but it's not magic. It's consciousness. It's the ability for the human mind to do wondrous things that we had no idea could happen. But it's also the ability for other life forms to do wondrous things we didn't think were possible.
Right.
It's just physics, you know? And humanity is going to wake up pretty soon, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be really, really amazing. And we're so close. We're so close to it, you know?
I want to announce to the network now, I'm not going to take a commercial break. This is my show, and I'm having fun, and that's it. So we're going to go commercial free right here, unless you need to take a break, Tom.
Oh, God, I'm just sitting down.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Okay, now, do you have any idea through your contacts how long we have been visited? 100,000 years, 200,000 years, 2,000 years? Do you have any idea how long we've been visited?
That's a really, really good question. There's a little bit of disparity, in certain stovepipes. Remember I talked to you about the stovepipes?
Sure.
There's a little bit of disparity because there's a whole hell of a lot of science that's happening in all of those stovepipes, and they're coming to different conclusions. It's not like something crashed, it's an alien. It's something crashed, it's an alien. Oh my God, it's not. Wait, maybe it is, but it can do this. Well, no, maybe it's this, which still kind of makes it an alien, but it's like, so it's a lot of that kind of stuff going on, right? And in some of those stovepipes, they've come to the conclusion, this is what's so crazy, but I'm going to say it, that Atlantis was real. And something was very important about that time frame, and very important about who the humans were at that place. I think, and I am totally guessing, because I haven't taken this, I'm taking this question to a very specific person that is big time, that just came on as an advisor to me 2 days ago. It's going to be the first question I ask him, and I cannot ask till the end of September, because I can't communicate with the guy except face to face.
Gotcha.
And but my first question is going to be, did the UFO phenomenon exist at the time of that civilization, or at that time were we powerful enough to repel it because of our consciousness? And I got to get to the bottom of that, because there's potential that humanity at that time frame was so elevated, none of these life forms, these parasites, could mess with us.
It's a legitimate.
It's a legitimate question, right?
Yes, it is, and I'll tell you why. And again, this is my opinion, but I have interviewed, over 500 people, right, and the best and the brightest, and I've gleaned a lot of information and studied myself, and this is where I agree with you as why that's such an important question. Just recently, and I'm talking about since. We can go with the invention of the printing press, okay, and move forward from there. But today, all of the distractions that we have, internet, television, cell phones, and so forth, pull us away from using our brains. But back then, 600 years ago and beyond, all we had was our imagination and our brains and our consciousness, and we focused on the self. And so when you go back that far and go back to ancient Egypt and the dawn of civilization throughout that period, the development of the mind was key. The self was key. And that we've let go of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? We've totally let go of the ability.
Don't even get me started.
Right.
Let me inject some adrenaline into that, because it's very on point. The UFO phenomenon has a hive mind, okay? These creatures they potentially don't have souls. They are like clones. And they worship their own technology to some degree, but they feed off fear and negativity. And the one thing that they cannot stand, it's like dropping, it's like jumping into a pool of acidic, like nuclear waste that would incinerate you in 2 seconds. Because they cannot stand the frequency of elevated human consciousness.
Right.
So what's the best way to keep us from elevating our consciousness? You crash a craft and the transistor pops up. And you get video games and iPhones and all these things that you walk around like what? A cyborg.
Right.
A soulless little hive mind, all getting direction from devices. Now, we go, no way, because I'm visiting RollingStone.com and you're visiting like whatever, and someone's playing Halo and the other person's watching Jurassic Park, on the movie theater. That's not the point. The whole point is that we're so focused on these things that you're not closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, realizing that the present moment is great, realizing that you're part of a connected system like the damn movie Avatar, where the thing's alive, the whole planet's alive and all the trees are connected. Remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Sure.
It really is that kind of thing. Do you know they studied depression on people that walked out of Avatar because people were so inspired, and then they walked out and they were in just like a bad little parking lot with oil stains and realized that their earth isn't connected? Because it's supposed to be. Our earth is, and we're supposed to sense that. But I'm so stoked on the fact that I have a thumbprint in slow motion on my iPhone that I don't really stop and notice,
Right.
And trust me, I'm as bad as everyone else. I'm not saying, I'm just telling you, I know what the hell is going on because I'm being briefed on it. And they're trying to figure out, how do we do this? How do we snap out of this, And I said, well, I have an idea. And they said, that's a pretty damn good idea. And it's not the one idea that's going to work for all of this, but it's going to help, and that's what I'm doing.
When you bring up Atlantis like you do, this is what I find interesting, where technology has actually helped us, and that is we now can go and search for our own answers. Right? We have the world a click away from going out and investigating, and we're finding out that the dogma that we have been fed is not true, and that goes with history. That goes with the sciences, that goes with space and so forth, that we are able to go out and find out these answers. And one of the things that has happened is Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe wasn't supposed to exist, right? Man started at 2500 BC and 3000 BC, right? And now here we have Göbekli Tepe, 7,000 years before Egypt, right? And Mesopotamian and ancient Sumer.
Right.
And that opens the door to a civilization before that taught the civilization of Göbekli Tepe the arts and knowledge that they had to build that complex. And that opens the door to the possibility of Atlantis truly existing.
It not only did Atlantis truly exist, I believe, I think it's cyclical. And what I think humanity has risen and fallen based off of deceit and design of the UFO phenomenon. And I'm going to tell you a story that I've never told anybody. Have you ever witnessed an act of violence?
Yes, I
have. By the way?
Yes, I have.
Like an act, like something that's disturbing?
Yes.
Because I was shooting this short film that people haven't seen yet. And I was sitting on this bridge, and on the end of a bridge, and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Oh my God, someone's standing on the edge of the bridge down there." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And she thought, "But I don't have a phone." So I took off running. So I sprinted down this bridge, and I was hundreds and hundreds of yards away from anyone. It's just me. It was a really big bridge. And I run down, and I see these hands on the rail. It's kind of like a taller concrete rail. And I'm standing there, and I'm out of breath because I ran down there. Oh, hey, man, there's this guy on the edge, on the other side of the rail. So I'm like 18 inches from him. And I'm, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah." "Are you stuck? Can you come back over here?" He goes, "I can come back over." And then I realized at that moment he didn't want to come back over. So I said, "Well, hey, let's just take a deep breath here for a second. Let's talk." And I look at his hands. And he goes, "Don't you touch me. Don't you touch me. I don't want you going over with me." And then right at that moment, I go, "Oh, my God." And then he looks me in the eye, and he says, "What I'm about to do, I'm completely good with." And he jumped.
What?
And this is a true story, right in front of me. No one knows this. I've never told this to anybody. And it was the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life, ever. I didn't sleep for a couple of days. Just like, I would just cry. I was just it was the most disturbing, negative thing I've ever seen. And it was just me. No one else. 2 people were running up at the time and saw it happen from 30, 40 yards away. But this guy was 18 inches, eye to eye,
Right.
So, do you think I wanted to go play a video game where people shot people up? Do you think I wanted to go watch a movie where someone jumps off a building and in slow motion dies? No.
Of course not.
Because when you actually witness it, it is just horrible. It's like asking a soldier that just came back and watched his buddies get blown to pieces and go, "Dude, let's go watch that Saving Private Ryan," or something, and where they spend a half an hour just recreating it all. And it's I don't need to see that. I've seen the real thing. But the problem is that all of our movies and all of our video games and all of our dumb YouTube videos somehow keep perpetuating it in a very video game kind of way. It's cinematic. It's entertainment. And we laugh at it. And we pay money to experience it. Until you experience it for real, and you go, "Man, something is not right with humanity." And guess what? The top echelon of people within the United States government and other governments know this. And they know that it's happening on purpose, And as soon as we decide to stop doing that, it's going to be a completely different world. Completely. But the problem is we do have ISIS, We do have terrorists. We do have weird dudes building bombs and doing this. We do have the problems we have, but hopefully not for long, And I think when you ask me, isn't it weird that we're finding planets and we're talking about audio signals coming in from space and NASA's talking about going to Europa and all that? I go, yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? And I'm saying that with a wink.
Right.
Something's coming, and I know about it. I know what's coming. It's going to be great.
You know what's interesting here, Tom, and listening to you is that I figured out something that I've spoken about a lot on this show. I figured out something about. It was about a year ago, maybe, and I'm out doing conferences and speaking and heading out. And when I would go and do these things, for 3 or 4 days, I'm busy, and I'm too busy to turn on the TV in the hotel. You get back and you just crash. I'm too busy to look at CNN on my cell phone, and I disconnect from the news, right? The fear porn. And I find myself physically in a better place. I'm talking about a physical sense, right? And I would come back on Sunday night and, get off the plane and come home and, with my wife and turn on the TV and CNN hits with, the ISIS beheading videos. And I physically change. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this. I'm.
Can I tell you what? Can I tell you why? Because that changed the frequency of how you feel. And guess what wants you to feel that way?
Right.
That's my point.
Yes.
The universe is teeming with life. There is a life form that wants you to feel that way. So don't feel that way. And then you're free and clear. It sounds so strange. I get it. I know it sounds, why do you think I'm trying to whiteboard out the entire thing in documentaries, books, and movies? Because it's a difficult thing for people to understand in one conversation. It sounds like stupid magic, hokey pokey stuff. I get it. But why don't you sit with the guys I'm sitting with and tell them they don't know what they're talking about? It's just like, it makes sense. It all makes sense. It's unreal, man. It's like, we're capable of something insanely good, and we're just around the corner from it. We're so close,
And what do you think? I don't see our president, whoever is going to be the next president for the next 4 years, or Obama right now, or in the future. I don't see somebody stepping up to a podium in D.C. going, "Okay, we've been lying to you. We've made alien contact." It's not going to happen that way. How is it going to happen?
It's going. That's where I have a lot to say that I can't say. I will tell you this: it's not going to be the president or Congress. The government doesn't deal with the UFO topic the way you would expect they would, right? They're not in charge of it the way you expect that they would be. It's a tricky subject, and with very, very competent, heroic people. And I'm not saying that because I was told to say that. I'm saying that because I know what the hell's going on, and I step back and go, "Oh my God, I don't want that job. I do not want that job." And if I was ever given it, I don't know what I would do. I don't even know. I have no idea. So, it's a responsibility, and it's unreal where a few people wear the burden for everybody else, so you can go to the movies on a Saturday night and laugh and drink and have a radio show and do your thing and be happy and go to the walk on the beach.
Right.
While other people don't get to do that. Other people are walking around with a briefcase with multiple PhDs, and they can't even sleep because they're dealing with something that's really difficult. And and I think the respect that we need to grow back for our institutions is enormous. It's so easy to hate the government because you listen to Ed Snowden and you're kind of like, wow. But yeah, there are bad apples. That's like the police. The police do something wrong, but as soon as someone's breaking in your house, you call the police. I hated them yesterday, but I really wish they were here right now. You're going to get all the, different arrays of types of people. But the UFO topic is not being covered up by government the way you would think it would be. It's not. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, how so?
It is not.
Well, the UFO cover-up, obviously there's something going on, and we speak about it, and we it's tangible. This is not an intangible thing.
No. It just doesn't, where it exists and where it's managed is in a different type of mechanism. I'll just say that, okay? You can't blame the normal institutions that you think are like godlike power, you know? You can't go and say the CIA knows everything and they control everything.
Right.
It's not that way. It's not that way with this topic. The entire globe is involved. It's not just the United States.
Sure.
You want to know something that's really awesome? The United States is the leader. The United States is doing the majority of the work and pushing everybody. And you know why? Because we're the first country for the free mind, for the free people. There's a reason. Because we were the enlightened idea of a people, right? And that idea spread, and we call it democracy, we call it Western civilization, but even on something that is a pretty big, ugly deal, America's still leading for the countries that hate it.
Right,
you know, like
right,
all the countries that hate us, we're out there fighting something for them. You know, so it's like it's unreal, man. It's like it's really inspiring. It's really inspiring. I'm being dead serious. Like, if you can't tell that I'm telling you the truth right now with how I feel, then God help us all. But,
right.
You know.
Hey, I mentioned a couple of pictures that were posted, and there was another one of you with Bob Lazar, and that circulated. What did you talk to Bob about?
I might as well let you all know that Secret Machines is putting out Bob's autobiography. And that will be coming. And it's a very important piece of all this. And I can't get into it now, but you will be reading his book here very shortly.
When I have over the years, since he first broke, I mean, going back to Omni Magazine in the 80s, right? I have tried to catch Bob, right? I've tried to bust him, and I haven't. And today, I firmly believe that he's telling the truth. I do. I'll go to the mat for Bob. I really will. When you sit down and talk to Bob, and obviously you have, when you look into his eyes, what do you feel, and how do you feel about Bob the man?
I think Bob the man is enormously credible. I think Bob the man got hired to do a job, but he didn't know that he was being used to do something that was very important. And that important thing was twofold. That all of the work with the UFO phenomenon was happening at Area 51, S4, and that UFOs are from far, far away. And both of those things aren't true. And that's what you have to look at. But he was showing the stuff. He did work on the stuff. He was there. And I think that's why people need to read the autobiography.
I can't wait. Yeah, that I can't wait. That's like the best news of the show so far, believe it or not. As tiny as that was, that's pretty exciting stuff. And going back to Bob and that technology, I want to know your opinions of when we look at the petrodollar and fossil fuels and the way that the world runs today, and the knowledge that the government possesses and potentially possesses that could free us of all of that. Is that why aren't they releasing at least something to relieve not only the fossil fuels, and I know money that's involved, but it would relieve pollution, and a lot of poor people around the world would have energy and so forth that they wouldn't be able to have. You know, why not let that technology go? What's your opinion?
I don't have an opinion. I have the truth. I know why.
And
there's two reasons.
Okay.
There's two. Number one reason is, how do you think we finance the defense for this subject? We need all the help we can get. The second reason is the technology itself is not hidden from us. It's not hidden from the people that are paying for it. It's not hidden from you and I, and because people want to like hoard the patents. Who do you think it's hidden from? The UFO. They don't want the UFO to know what we've accomplished. It's a game.
Interesting.
And people got to get off their soapbox and think that all these conspiracies point to people ripping them off of money, ripping them off of knowledge, or it's all ego-based dumb stuff that these guys have no time to deal with. You know, they're dealing with something that's hard enough as it is, and they don't need to stop and come to your living room and saying, I'm not trying to make it hard at the gas pump for you. You know, it's like, it's, you know, go to war with a 19-year-old and see what's important when he's being shot at.
Right.
You know, it's like, that's the point.
So
the breakthroughs that we have are competitive advantage to the battlefield, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it would. And it always seems to come down to that too as well. You know, the fundamentals of all of that. But when I saw what I've seen a few different things in my life, and I've photographed a couple of things, and I'll share those with you privately. But when I saw that craft take off out of contact in the desert, the only thing that was going through my mind is that right there, because I don't see flames, I don't see wings, I don't see smoke, I don't see anything traditional with any kind of rocket or a helicopter or jet aircraft. It wasn't any of that. It was a technology that, quite frankly, we, you and I, Tom DeLonge and Jimmy Church, are not exposed to. And that is what was strange to me. And that's...
Do you want me to, let me read you something. I just asked one of my advisors how something that doesn't exist in this dimension as we know it can create a craft that looks very physical and probably is very physical. You want me to read the answer?
Yes.
Here it goes. I'm reading something to you straight from the source. Using nanofabrication, atomic layer by atomic layer, with durable nanotexturing and quantum entanglement properties, and of course, powered by the polarizable vacuum. Same methods that crypto-terrestrials use. Does that make like there's a way? I just got that, and I was like, okay, got it. There's a way. Whatever that means.
Whatever that. I'm a guitar player, man. I have no clue what.
I know. It's so crazy. The whole thing's so crazy. It's so crazy. And people kind of go, why aren't you playing those same songs every night? I want to play these songs for a second and see what they sound like,
Is it going to, you know what? I have to ask you, man, is this going to influence your songwriting in the future?
Oh my God, dude. You have no idea what I have in store. It's going to absolutely. But look, isn't it fair? Check this out. Isn't it weird that I'm learning these things about human consciousness and how it repels negative things or whatever? And my band Angels and Airwaves did a double album in a movie called Love.
Yes, right.
As an experiment.
Right.
Because it was an experiment of intention. I saw some dude freezing water molecules, and he would write on a piece of paper. He would write love or hate or whatever. And depending on what he wrote on that piece of paper, he would tape it to these little jars of water. And under the microscope, if he just wrote with a pencil love, the water would freeze in these beautiful symmetrical crystals. If he wrote rape or hate or war, they would be these gelatinous blobs that looked deformed. And so I said, well, let's name this whole project Love, and let's write it weird with a little astronaut sitting on the moon and make it esoteric. And when people look at it, they all know what the word love means, so there's going to be an energy projected towards it, and let's see how good it does. Let's see if it matters. Let's see if that's a good art project. And it did insane. It did super good. And a lot of what that band is about is that kind of stuff, But like now I'm like tripping because I was already kind of doing it, and now I'm like learning that's a real thing. That it's like a real thing that the military and the intelligence community and other areas of the DoD know about and take very seriously. That the human spirituality component of consciousness and the positive feelings of love and happiness is very important.
And
very important. It's as important as drinking a glass of water when you're thirsty. You know what I'm saying? It's it's a physical thing.
And it can be affected by tones and frequency and light. You know.
Yes, or someone walks in the room and you go, God, he's got bad vibes.
Right.
That's like real. You sense it, you know?
Hey, are you hip to Michael Lee Hill? Okay.
No, I am not.
Okay, he's a guitar player. He's really good. But he turned me on to A440 not being 440, but 432. Are you hip to that frequency?
You know what? I know that you people do a lot of these things where they change their tuning. For a guy like me, that's so hard to even find the tune. You know, but you don't mess around with those important numbers on that tuner.
Yeah, right. And what he did, 440, when you look at it on a spectrometer, is a mess, right? But you bring it down to 432, and it goes into focus. It's like the trippiest thing you've ever seen. So going down and tuning down those tones to 432, your guitar and everything vibrates together. Dude, it'll blow your mind. It will freak you out. So just remember that 432 and bring it down those 8 semitones. Do you like the bumper music that I've been playing on the show?
Yeah, I do. Well, I hear some solos in there. Someone's got the hot fingers, but I couldn't. There's one that sounded really cool. It almost sounded like the Pretenders or something, but I couldn't place it.
That's It's Me. No, it's not. I'm messing with you. No, that's Doug Aldrich. Oh. You remember Doug Aldrich?
Okay, awesome. I don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's one of those.
I grew up as a skateboarder, punker kid. My parents didn't listen to music. My dad listened to like sports radio and stuff. I don't know anything.
You know what's funny? How I got into radio was because of AM 690 in San Diego. Right?
Mighty 690.
Yep, yeah, man. And I used to, when I drove to San Diego, I used to work for Elisa's, right? You know Elisa's, the music company. And so I would drive to San Diego a couple times a week. And I would listen to AM 690. And back then, you remember Hacksaw Hamilton and Jim Rome started off down there. And AM 690, that sports radio station, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, changed my life. That was like the greatest station ever.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know if it's still running today, but now we're going to be headed towards a break. Here I do have to take a hard break. When I come back, I want to set up a few things. One, Roswell. And I think Roswell's an important subject to talk about because I think it is the beginning of the lie, right? The genuine lie that we're being fed today, and that disinfo. But I want to talk about a couple of other incidents around the country that are historical UFO events, and what's your take on them? And if they, quite frankly, if they really happened or not, and who do we believe here? Do we believe the witnesses, or do we believe the official dogma and government stance that we have been fed over the years? And with that, when you look back historically, because you're a historian of the subject, what's the one event to you that stands out the strongest where you go, you know what, right here, this is the one we need to talk about?
So, and you want me to answer that now, or do you want to answer that later?
We're going to talk about it after the break, but what is that one event?
Potentially Starfish Prime, the nuclear test in space.
Really? You're going there? Okay. Wow. Tom DeLonge coming in strong, folks. Okay.
People, you better listen to what I'm saying. People better listen to what I'm saying. They better. I'm telling you. If you're interested in this stuff, listen to what I'm telling you. No joke.
Well, let's take our break right here. I'm going to jump in right here. Our guest tonight, Tom DeLonge. And like I said, Tom has something to say. What did he just say? He's got something to say. He is on a mission. We'll continue the conversation right after this short break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Foodforliberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency or an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
Did you ever turn to your radio for your favorite talk show to find that it's been preempted for this?
In the air to deep right center. Back goes Lewis to the wall, and it's all here!
Or this?
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it.
Do you have a favorite talk radio program that's not available in your city? Just go to TalkStreamLive.com for links to the best streaming talk radio shows. At TalkStream Live, you will find live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All your favorites are here. With such a large selection, you will also discover some new favorites. On the go and still want to listen? With a mobile smartphone, simply type TalkStream Live on your internet browser. Now you can take internet radio with you. You will also find hundreds of music, news, and sports streams. Best of all, the TalkStream Live directory is free and there's never a login required. Remember TalkStreamLive.com, the fastest route between you and your favorite talk radio show.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. What a great conversation tonight. Tom DeLonge. And yes, he does have something to say. Tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe is with us. Thursday night, David Icke is going to be here. He's right in the middle of his worldwide wake-up tour, and he's going to take a night off and hang out with us over here on Fade to Black. But right now, it's about Tom. And so, Operation Starfish Prime. I can't believe you went there. Okay, go ahead and tell everybody about it.
Well, for people who don't know, that was a nuclear test, quote-unquote test, in space. And we learned quite a lot from that test. It was the main test where we really were able to study and learn about EMP. This was also happening during, oddly enough, the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That's right,
So
1962.
when the whole world was focused on the Cuban Missile Crisis, something else was going on. And that something else may have brought something down. And that something that brought down we may have learned a lot about that, about EMP specifically, and its ability to catch things that are hiding, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And that's always... you have to be deep in your research to get to what Tom is talking about here. Now, the tests were done. They were high altitude tests that were done out over the Pacific. And could you imagine, Tom, like living in Hawaii and watching that thing go off in the atmosphere like that?
Oh my God! It's like you would think that like Jupiter was like crashing into our sky. You know, it's like, it's a big deal. And it's just unreal. I think one of the everyone has to remember what happened once we started playing with nuclear weapons. UFOs showed up everywhere.
Every time.
And every time. And you got to think, why? Well, there's a big reason why. Because nuclear weapons will F up those little ankle biters bad, and they know it. And even they, as advanced as they are, they can't get away from it. And makes you really wonder why we did so many nuclear tests. It makes you really wonder why we did like 30,000 tests all over the world, in oceans, underground, up in the sky, and why we all have so many nuclear weapons. It's a big deal, you know. I'm not going to say it's all for this, but I was told something really, really, really important. The entire Cold War, we were working with the Soviet Union. We were together with them. And it was the one thing that kept the Cold War from going hot, was our relationship together on this issue. We weren't dumb and just went and lit up a nuke when we were in a standoff with Russia, you know, the Cuban Missile Crisis, where everyone's like, oh my God, we're all going to die. And we said, well, then we might as well do a nuke test. You know, it's like, no, it didn't work that way. They knew we did the nuke test. They were probably in the room with us when we did that test, because there was a small group of people on both sides that were trying to do exactly what they did, which was fly swat some bugs out of the sky.
I want to talk about Roswell, and not deeply. I just want to go to the factual side of the event itself. With your knowledge and research, did we glean our, like you said earlier, the transistors that allegedly went to Bell Laboratories, and technology, and did that event actually happen?
The Roswell event did happen. And see, a lot of this stuff is going to be coming out in the next book. And the reason is so we can take some time to really place it and let people understand, you know, how it unfolded. Now, what we found in Starfish Prime was different than what we found in Roswell. Okay? But equally as important, but a whole nother story all in itself, if that makes sense. And that's all I want to say.
Okay. Well, after you're done, I'll glean my comments.
Sure.
You know, only what's interesting about all of this is that in the last 100 years, since 1900 until now, to 2016. And you're a musician, so you'll appreciate this. But somebody that was born in 1900, right, and lived to the ripe old age of 70, and he died in 1970, he would have gone from and witnessed gas lamps, horse and buggies, to the invention of the automobile, all the way, and vaudeville, right? And the invention of radio and music and then stereo, all the way from that to frigging Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, right? All in one lifetime.
Right.
And that's a crazy thing for somebody to witness. That's a lot of technology rolling out. And for somebody to feed me, well, it's just that we're smart, and we just got here. You know what? It was such a leap of things to go from 1900 to 1970, 75 to going to the moon. It is an incredible thing to witness in one lifetime. And quite frankly, maybe we had some help. And why does everybody want to, poo-poo that and say that isn't possible when clearly that's not the case?
Right. But you have to. I'm gonna one up you here. When you refer to help can be a variety of things. Okay. So I'm going to explain to you what help is. Help could be a crash. Now, a crash of a vehicle could be because we shot it down, because lightning brought it down, because they faked the lightning bringing it down, or they faked that it got shot down, intentional or unintentional, okay? So always remember, every event, was it intentional or unintentional? The other way help can happen is contact. Is it direct contact? Are you led to the contact, or is the contact led to you? Okay? The next way help can happen is, do you have indirect contact? Do you have the thoughts put in your mind because you're you're at Bell Laboratory and you're a scientist, or do you have the thoughts put in your mind, when you wake up one morning because you have no idea what event transpired that evening when you were sleeping?
I'll one up you one more. I'll see you, and I'm going to raise you. I'm going to one up you one more. What if that all of this leaps in technology was quite simply programmed into our DNA and timed to release itself in a linear sense?
I think that's interesting, and I think it's definitely debatable. I believe that the DNA molecule shoots information into the source, and our experiences and our feelings, the DNA molecule is very rare for that job. And that's why the DNA, or there's something about the genome that is desired by other life forms that don't have that power and that connection.
I agree.
I
do. I totally agree. Okay. I want to raise you one more.
Yes.
Have you, look, I understand that you were inquisitive and you kicked down some doors and you confronted, some people. I get that part. But have you given thought to something maybe above that, and maybe it may be more divine, and maybe that you were chosen and you have stopped and asked yourself, why you?
Yes. If you look at my career, let me give you a really scary thought here. So this is how I view myself, and this is something I've never told anybody. At least no one's listening right now, right?
Right,
okay, cool.
right.
Okay, so I started out, my name is Thomas Matthew DeLonge, and the biblical name of that means truth seeker. Did you know that?
Yes,
I didn't know that. But my mom has said that to me my entire life.
Right.
But that's all guys like you and I are after, right? The next thing that happened is that I started a rock band that spoke to a very large demographic of people, not fringe, people, but it was kind of grabbed a hold of a very middle class kind of group of people that have tremendous influence on others. And during that time, I was always hungry to create businesses. because I never really thought the band would go anywhere. So I was growing these businesses and learning a hell of a lot. But none of the businesses ever really did that good that it made me leave the band or not do them. They did well enough for me to want to do them at the same time. It was weird, but I learned very specific skill sets in both things. I learned how to talk to very large audiences and what large audiences desire. But I also learned how to make a product and digitally how to market it and how to name it and how to digitally connect it to somebody that wants it and how to have a relationship directly to those people outside of corporations and stuff, whatever. But then, so you take those three things, some kid that's always after the truth, that learned a hell of a lot about making a product and selling it and doing it in a relevant way, and also being in a band that has a tremendous influence of communicating the world back to young people in a certain way, you would step back and kind of go, then it makes perfect sense what you're doing right now with this project. Perfect sense. You're communicating the truth through your own business so you can have a direct relationship with people where nobody can get in the way and convolute or disrupt the message. Pretty weird, right?
Yeah, it is. And did you develop that confidence because you didn't fail too many times? You managed to succeed. So does that build your confidence and that you know that you can go ahead and do something that would work?
No, I've had failures. I mean, I've had a handful of companies that totally failed that people probably don't know. But I just don't look back, I'm the kind of guy that goes, oh, I want to do that. Wow, that sounds cool. And I'll work everything I have on that one thing. I'll jump in head first, and then it doesn't work, and I kind of have to deal with that for a week. And I go, okay, well, why didn't that work? Well, what if I did it this way with this idea and kind of, it's like I did this technology site called Mod Life. It wasn't a site. We built a platform. Pearl Jam still uses the platform. Kanye used it. Nine Inch Nails used it for the longest time. All of Jack White's bands, White Stripes, Third Man Records, they all used it. It was a way to monetize the arts. But it was too hard to scale. It can never really get that big because all the bands were wanting their own version of it or whatever. But I learned a hell of a lot. I learned how to do what's called a direct-to-consumer sales platform, how to build it, how to maintain it, and how to understand how to sell the arts, But I also had a really cool shoe brand. And that was a lot of marketing, a lot of cool photos, a lot of cool logos, a lot of cool contests and concepts of how to get, kids interested in, people who wore our shoes, whether it was Muse or it was Green Day or other bands that we worked with. And I also did some really hardcore surf and skate companies that didn't go anywhere, but I learned how to talk to a fickle audience. I learned how to deal with people that think something's uncool as soon as it gets big, So you take all those skill sets and you blend it into what my company To the Stars is doing now, which is the same kind of stuff. But when you step back and kind of go, why you? I can make a very, very predictable trajectory for the past 20 years leading to this moment to the people I'm talking to. Very, very easy to understand. But the reality of me steps to the side and goes, how the hell did you get here? Did you get here because you have ADD? Did you get here because you have brass balls the size of Texas? Did you get here because some really important, high-ranking officials heard of Blink but don't really know that it's not as cool as their nephew tells them it is or something, I don't know.
Right.
Like the celebrity only gets you partly, I can get to anybody. I made one phone call and I met President Obama. That's pretty cool, but it's like what do you do after you get that door open is a whole different story. I mean, I could have walked into that first meeting that I told you about and said, come on, man. Dude, I know that aliens took out the World Trade Center. Come on, dude.
Right.
I could have said something stupid like that. No, I didn't. I walked in and I was very respectful and I was humble and I was patient and I was eloquent and I was flying by the seat of my pants, but it all worked. And I got approached by I can't describe these people. I don't want to describe. I'm not allowed to. But I got approached by a very, very important person over the past 2 weeks, and this was a big deal. This is a big deal because it was the first time that someone of this type of category came directly to me and said, what the hell are you doing? Okay. And after 2 days of that, 2 days of talking, hours and hours and hours, the person was, you need to keep doing what you're doing. It is genius. And all I was doing was saying, how do I entertain and educate people on something they would never believe if you told them at a coffee shop?
Right.
They would never believe it.
Well, what do
Any
you,
part of it?
Yeah, and what do you make of? There's two things that we need to address directly. One, the success and the proliferation of shows like Ancient Aliens, the show that I'm on, Hangar One, the 24-hour Alien Agenda programming that is on multiple channels today. We have that, and it's a success because people are watching. Therefore, you have companies that are paying for commercials. That's what drives society, right? So,
right.
It's a tremendous success. People are starving for this information. How do you explain that the boom of the Alien Agenda on mass media?
This is exactly. It's not good. And I said this to this guy that I was sitting with that I just told you about. I said, this is the issue. Nobody is addressing the fact that there is no mechanism to teach people. People like you come in and they go through these cogs on the wheels and then they come out. And they learn things, they dealt with things, and it's a big deal. But they never stopped and said, how do we take this knowledge and elevate humanity? And I said, and because you haven't been doing that, you have shows like Ancient Aliens and every other thing out there that's coming up with these bizarre ideas that aliens built everything. And now people are not, or now people are, for a lack of a better term, worshiping aliens. Aliens built everything. Aliens made us. Aliens are the gods. Aliens this, aliens that. And I said, that's what happens when there's a vacuum. And it got filled with something that is no good. So we're going to come out of this thinking that aliens are good, and they're not, and at least this one specific race I'm talking about. So, and I call them the bugs, because you know why I call them the bugs? Because other people call them the bugs.
Mm.
So my whole point here is we need something different. Now, if there's a TV show that just talks about like events, like this happened and this happened, and there's some questions about it, that's one thing. But when there's a TV show, when it sits down and it's just glorifying, abstract ideas that aliens are responsible for everything,
right? Just
because it's filling in the hour and people are chiming, that's bad. That's bad news. This is a real topic. This isn't just some weird new age topic that we're like, science is proving that you can have orgasms in your sleep or something. I don't know.
Right.
That was a joke, and I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I'm being serious.
So am I. And the thing, and I hear you, but it's also better than not pushing the agenda forward, right? So it's a paradox.
No. Let me be clear. The people are not to blame. They just want the information.
Right.
So they're going to wherever they can. The people on those shows aren't to blame because they want to find the information too and they want to get it out. When you step back, let me tell you how these guys think. When something of magnitude happens, do you want to know what because I've been in these discussions. Do you want to know what they say when they look at each other? What a great recipe for war, ain't it?
Yeah, right.
That's what they say.
Absolutely.
That's the term.
Well,
So when So when someone like Trump pops up, or anybody that says weird comments that might be bigoted or might be prejudiced or might be whatever, and I'm sorry, people I get it. Let's keep politics out of this. It's not like I like any of the candidates, so don't get all weird about it. My point is, when any candidate of any country pops up and is divisive and inflames things, and there's rhetoric that causes issues, these guys look at each other and go, what a great formula for war, ain't it?
It always comes down to that, and then you tie in dollars, right? And it all fits together.
Well, you know where I'm going with this.
I do, 100%.
It's a UFO thing.
Yep.
It's a UFO thing. It's implanted ideas and suggestions and gamesmanship. It's a chess game.
Well, and then we have.
And we're trying to beat the chess game.
And then we have.
And we're doing.
And Tom, before we hit this break, and I have one important. I'm going to keep you an extra 10 minutes because I have one specific question after the break that will be our closer. But is this we have Obama on Kimmel, we have Obama on Ellen, we have Hillary on Kimmel, we have Bill on Kimmel, Podesta with his famous tweet last year and him pushing forward and his inquisitiveness about what's.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. There's a reason.
And what is it?
What do you think?
Well, well, with Hillary, I think it's for votes.
No, I know. Well, it's not. I mean, look, it's important. It's very important that, someone that takes this matter seriously wins. But absolutely, she is not mentioning that for votes because that's not something that gets you votes. And I'm telling you right now that I know why. I do know why. When you ask me about the candidates doing stuff like that, I know why. And and the reason is it's time. So it's going to start coming, and people need to listen up and be inspired. And be inspired for all the things that I said they need to be inspired by. We have to change the way we treat each other because it's not our fault. It's not humanity's fault that humanity hates each other. It never has been their fault. They were designed to hate each other. And so we got to put the weapon down and go, oh, I get it.
I'll tell you why I agree with you, Tom. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'll tell you why you are right. And that is this. If we were told as a planet, if we were told that we were alone, that there has not been any alien contact, that we are absolutely it and unique in the known universe, you know what? That's the most depressing thing that you could tell this planet.
Oh, it's horrible.
Horrible. Now, if we find out and something happens that, you know what, indeed, there is life out there and we need to we need to move forward. Now we have a reason to live as a race and to become one.
And together.
Yes, and
become
together.
One.
And that's the difference, and that's why I agree with you.
And I am telling you once again, listen to my words. That is what's going on. Our behaviors were designed to hate each other. So we wouldn't all put the weapons down and grab each other's by the arms and look up and saying, you bastards. Like they didn't want that. Divide and conquer. And guess what? At some point here, it's going to change, and everyone's going to stop and look up and say, "Holy cow! Wow, we were duped."
100%.
These guys over in Iran and Syria are our brothers, but we were led astray the same way they were. But the problem is we still do have those issues. We still have ISIS. It's not like that's going away. But you kind of have to wonder, and you have to understand what's fueling that hatred.
And it makes
suggestion, matter displacement, holograms,
right.
Religious experience.
Right.
It's like all that stuff is what created it.
It makes you wonder if Ronald Reagan was not only right, but seriously sending that message when he made that speech at the United Nations, which is exactly what we're talking about right now.
Yes. No, do you think he's a moron and just went up there and started saying, I mean, I get it. You know, he's like an older dude that said crazy shit, but no, I mean, it's like, no, he knew what he was saying.
Okay, we're going to take
And guess what? Oh, last thing I'll say is guess what?
What?
Him and Gorbachev were working together.
They were.
You know?
100%. 100%. Listen, we're going to take a break. And listen, this is what I'm going to ask you after the break. And I just want your quick answer on this. And there's a reason why I can't do it now. We're going to have to do it after the break, and then we'll let you go, which is this. I want your take on the Black Knight satellite. Think about that during the break, Tom. And when we come back, I want to hear your answer. Tonight, Fade to Black, our guest, Tom DeLonge. I'm going to force him into another 5 minutes, and we're going to get his take on the Black Knight satellite. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back after this short break.
And you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com. mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Tom DeLonge. And again, I want to announce, just for the Fadernauts, and I want to thank Tom and his team for everything that they have done for us today in the show. You can get Secret Machines Book 1, Chasing Shadows, right now using the promo code Fade to Black for 15% off. We have a banner set up over on the website. Just go and click on it. It'll take you straight to tothestars.media. And this special offer is good for the next week and just for us. And again, Tom, I want to thank you for doing that for everybody because the book is tremendous and it's a great read. And thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Thanks, man. I'm I got a mission here. I'm trying to get it done. And, look, as far as music goes, I'm still playing music. I'm still recording more music than I ever have. I still talk to the guys in Blink all the time. I talked to Travis just a few days ago, and we'll figure it out. There's going to be more Blink 182. There's going to be more music from Angels and Airways, and I'll get back on the road here shortly. But right now, I gotta complete some big stuff.
So that's great. So the door's not closed on Blink 182.
No, I still own it. It's like people forget that that I had to be okay with the way the situation is now, and I am. I'm totally fine. It gets weird in the press a little bit, but I get it. It's hard for people to understand, but I'm directing a major film in a few weeks. Like, I have crazy things I'm doing, and I'm busy. I'm a busy guy.
Now, do you just really quick? Do you ever go back and watch the old videos and go, "Man, we were out of control"? I mean,
no. What's funny is like those videos are nothing. Like the tours that we were on and the stuff that I saw, like on those early tours that the bands we were touring with were doing, like. Running around naked smiling is nothing when you just got off tour and they're like lighting drumsticks on fire in their butt. Like that was like, I was like, dude, nudity's nothing. Like, well, this guy did dangerous stuff near his butt, but no, it's just, I've seen a lot of really crazy stuff. And, when you look back at what we did on those videos, that's nothing compared to like what we were a part of, in the punk scene growing up.
Well, it was a lot of fun. That's the thing that in all of the videos, you guys definitely did not care about what people thought. You guys were having fun, and the music stands on its own, but the videos were always very fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I get it. Trust me, no, it was funny. We had fun.
All right, Black Knight Satellite. Pepsi did their 10-minute film, which I know that you've watched a few times. They did their 10-minute film with Usher and stated at the beginning of the video that everything you're about to see is true, or I think they used the word true or facts. And that was a heavy promotion by Pepsi. In conjunction with the way that our group of fringe alternative media looks at stuff, it was all in that video. What's your take on the Black Knight Satellite, and why did they make that video?
Well, number one, I don't have any take on the Black Knight Satellite. I'm sorry, but to end on a lower note where I don't really have anything to say about it. I know nothing about it other than the folklore. But number two, it's not ever going to come out with Pepsi. Nothing is going to come out with Pepsi or like some big, like something dumb, it's going to come out in a very elevated kind of prestige kind of way. Okay. Like these guys, the guys in charge are so smart and so serious and so overworked and deserve so much credit that they're not going to say, you know what, maybe we do it with Pepsi. It just doesn't work that way,
Well, can you just for me, right? I'm being a little greedy here. In your moves that you're going to do in the future, drop the Black Knight bomb on somebody and see what kind of reaction you get out of them. Either it's real or it's not. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I actually, this thing is, I have so many questions that I got to get through, that I have to think about how I ask them, when I ask them, and to whom I ask them to. It's like, it's an art in itself, how I'm doing this. I mean, it's really, really out of my comfort zone. The way where I'm at these days. And I have so many important questions because I get laid information that is just insane. Like insane. Like the thing I told you when someone says, oh, it was part military and part spiritual, this event. And I go, what the hell does that mean? Right. What does that mean?
Right.
You know, I didn't tell you what the event was because I can't. But to me, I got to sit there and kind of go, what would this super, super high-ranking military man be talking about spirituality for? Like, you know, like something you don't think they do, you know, but they do.
Right.
And, you know, you just think they're military, so I got a gun and I shoot it. And, you know, it's like, no, they're not.
Yeah, what are you doing talking about religion? You know, that's the last thing you should ever think about.
You know, you want to know something? Let me tell you something really interesting. I got a high note for you. You want me to end this on a high note?
Absolutely.
My number one advisor, this is how I describe people. If there really was Majestic 12, whatever it's called, this guy's on it, okay? And during this interview, I stumbled on a couple words a few minutes ago because I got a text. And this is the text that I got. If I say to you one day that I no longer believe in the metaphysical reality of God, how would I answer a later question asking if I'd ever felt the presence of God?
Oh, that's heavy.
I know. These guys are so gnarly smart, so off the charts, the best. So, you know, they don't go out and release information with Pepsi. They don't do things that are stupid. They don't make mistakes. You know, I'm really blown away, man. I'm really blown away. And I told them, I said, if people knew anything about you guys or about this whole topic, it's going to reverse the cynicism that people have about government and all of the relationships with government and all of the academia that's connected to government. It's going to reverse it. People are going to believe again, and they're going to believe, you know, in us as humans working together, because the way we've come together on this topic with other countries we're not supposed to be friends with is really inspiring. It's actually the first thing that you've heard in a long time where you kind of go, damn, like people are mature and all believe in something and, you know, caring about everybody, you know. It's cool.
Tom, as you go down this road, and you know, of course I want you to be safe, but are you ever concerned about your safety? There's always the bad element out there too as well. Are you concerned about that? And what do you do about it?
You know, that's a good question. And the answer is I don't know what I don't know. And when you don't have all the information, your mind goes crazy, you know, it starts coming up with scenarios because you've seen too many movies, you know.
Right.
You're dealing with the biggest topic on Earth, the most secretive topic on Earth, the most explosive topic on Earth, and then you're dealing with a phenomenon that is extraordinarily powerful, you know, like gods, the gods, you know, like that kind of thing. Not God, but like with a little g, the gods of ancient myth.
Right.
That's what they are.
Right.
And so you have to respect it all. And that's why I went around banging on doors asking for permission, because I was scared to death of the whole thing, you know. But I think I've done it right. And I'm still, believe it or not, in the process of asking permissions. So just watch closely and see what happens. You know, if I just stop talking about it altogether and I don't come out with a second book, then you'll know that somewhere somebody said it's not the right time.
Right.
You know?
That's exactly the point. Tom, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. It was all of that and more. And again, I know that I was pushing you, but it's my job. And just thank you so much for coming on tonight. And Lazar's book, when it lands, and the nonfiction, when it hits in a couple of months too, we'll get you back on the show, and we'll continue the conversation. But until then, be safe and keep rolling that rock uphill. Don't stop.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tom DeLonge, everybody. Now, again, I want to let you know that Tom and his team has this special offer for all of the Fadernauts, and that is Secret Machines Book 1, Chasing Shadows. You can go use the promo code Fade to Black. That's Fade to Black with no spaces for 15% off. We have a banner right now over at jimmychurchradio.com. This book is a must read, and you must. I'm going to take a break right now. It's Fade to Black. Thank you, Tom DeLonge. 2.5 straight hours of conversation with Tom, and that's how we do it here on Fade to Black. Thank you so much. Tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on jimmychurchradio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you tired of brown rust stains on your toilets, sinks, and clothes? Does your water smell and taste bad? Don't live with these problems anymore. HydroCare's revolutionary well water systems, available at Wave Home Solutions, gives you clean, healthy, great-tasting water from every faucet. They remove iron, hydrogen sulfide, sediment, and many other contaminants that are distasteful and damaging your fixtures. You'll be amazed how fresh and clean well water can be. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Fadernauts. Things are never what they seem. For the past century, forbidden subjects such as UFOs, backward engineering, human abductions, secret space programs, underground bases, suppressed free energy devices, and other fantastic notions have tested the human mind, forcing it to decipher fact from fiction. Chronicling what he calls the alternative narrative, author Brad Olson gets down to the middle of it all in his best-selling book, Future Esoteric, now released in a second edition by CCC Publishing. And now, you can get Future Esoteric at a special price, plus another free book by just using the promo code Jimmy when you check out. Just click on the Future Esoteric or CCC Publishing banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Go Beckley Teppy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Teppy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
man. Thank you, Tom DeLonge. Great conversation. That's all I've got. Wow. And this is the thing with that conversation, everybody. Go back and listen to this again and again. And listen to the words, because he said an awful lot. That's the point. You know, granted, and I will give this to Tom, and especially in this world that we're in, you can't just go and yap away and give away sources or any. I'm not even concerned with any of that. Some of you are, and I get that, but that's not it. Listen to what he just said, and it's very, very, very interesting, and it's not it's not what we've heard before, and that's what's important here. That was a fascinating conversation for all of us, and a lot to take away and digest. Okay, and listen to it again. Just listen to his words once again. Thank you, Tom, for coming on and opening up. That was 2.5 straight hours of some very serious conversation, and there you go. Yeah, it was much anticipated, and I got more out of it than I thought was actually going to happen. And there you go. Wow. Okay. Oh, man, I've got to go back. There's a couple of important stories here. And the phone lines are ringing, and I see that. I'm not going to take any calls, so you guys can just stop right there. But is this... Several authorities, now just listen to this really quick, and this is like, although you haven't heard this story and it's not been on CNN, or I don't know, I don't watch CNN anymore, or any of the mass media, but just listen to this. Several authorities have charged dozens of Southern California postal workers and their associates with mail theft, embezzlement, and an array of other crimes as part of a sweeping investigation into criminal activity at the United States Postal Service. A total of 33 defendants were charged in 28 cases, including one individual who was found to have had tens of thousands of pieces of mail in their possession. And this is according to a statement released this past Friday by the United States Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. And if you've ever wondered where your mail has been going, or you were expecting something and it just never showed up in the mail, and you're contacting and you're just wondering what is going on, just listen to this. Arrest warrants were issued for 6 of the 33 defendants. Postal carrier Sherry Naomi Watanabe, 48 years old, was found to have more than 48,000 pieces of mail at her house. The mail was supposed to have been delivered on her route in Placentia. In another case, Nicole Elwood, 45, was charged with mail theft for allegedly stealing medications sent by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs to veterans. Justin Brewster, a 25-year-old United States Postal Service mail processing clerk, is accused of stealing video games that were mailed to or from the video game rental service GameFly. Michael Smith, 43 years old, allegedly took money orders from mail envelopes, and prosecutors said that Jarol Garcia, 33, stole at least 166 cell phones. I'm not making this up. It's an unbelievable case, and it's something that we are not going to hear the end of anytime soon. And again, everybody, I see the phones. We're out of time. I don't have time to take any phone calls. We'll move everything on to tomorrow night. And also, I don't know how we're going to do Fader Night. We have David Icke in, too, as well. So, and tomorrow night, Linda's on with us. So, and I know this is a caller-driven show, but it's just the way that it is. I gave you 2.5 hours of Tom DeLonge tonight. All right. Okay. Now, listen to this. It's a voyage that everybody would have dreamed of not so long ago. But now, thanks to climate change, a luxury cruise ship has undertaken a journey that will see it sail through the once impassable Northwest Passage. That's right, the North Pole. Santa Claus. During a month-long trip that is drawing a ton of excitement, but also criticism right now with environmentalists, but you know how they go. The ship is called the Crystal Serenity, which set off from Seward, Alaska on August 16th with nearly 1,000 passengers, and it is scheduled to dock in New York on September 17th. The ship made its last Alaska port of call this past Sunday, stopping in Nome, Alaska, before heading farther north, accompanied by the RRS Ernest Shackleton, a British supply and ice-breaking vehicle. The voyage marks the first time a passenger ship this size sails the Northwest Passage, where warmer temperatures and melting ice are opening up the Arctic. And now it looks like, and this is one of the most pristine places on Earth, by the way. It is absolutely beautiful, breathtaking, and untouched. But it looks like, because of global warming, you're going to be able to sail from Alaska to New York whenever you want. And it'd be funny if this was dealing with the South Pole, and we could talk about the flat earthers, but that's for another time. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has found breaches in Illinois and Arizona's voter registration databases, sure enough, and is urging states to increase computer security ahead of the November 8th presidential election. Now, investigators were also seeking evidence on whether other states may have been targeted. They don't know. The FBI warning in an August 18th flash alert from the agency's cyber division did not identify the intruders or the two states targeted. United States intelligence officials have become increasingly worried that hackers sponsored by Russia or other countries may try to disrupt the presidential election. Now, going back to climate change, and this is a big one for me, everybody. It looks like climate change will wreak havoc on the coffee industry. In this century, it will reduce the land fit for coffee production by half, impacting the livelihoods of 120 million of the world's poorest people. This is according to a report by the Climate Institute commissioned by the Fair Trade Australia and New Zealand, and it is it's dire news for coffee farmers who tend to be poor, number one, and primary growers of the commodity. And they can't really adapt without help. But the news is this. The coffee powerhouse Nicaragua, scientists believe, could lose much of its growing areas by 2050. And in Tanzania, will reach critically low levels by 2060. Just as bad, though, is wild coffee. Wild coffee is important to the genetic diversity of farmed coffee. We need it to exist. But check this. It is expected to go extinct by 2080. And that is some of the craziest news that I can read to you. Man. SpaceX is finally sending a used rocket back into space. They've gotten pretty good at landing their rockets, and SpaceX now, towards the other half of its plan, they are there to build fully reusable rockets. And they're sending one of its used rockets right now back into space. The cargo for the mission will be a communication satellite from SES, and it's called the SES-10. Thanks to the success of the landing missions, however, SpaceX has its choice of several rockets that will become the first to go back into space. The company previously noted that the very first of the company's rockets to successfully land will be held on for display. instead of blasting that one back into space, by the way. SpaceX's storage hangar, and I've seen photographs of it for its launched rockets. Well, it's packed to the ceiling, and they've got quite a few to pick from. This has been Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, thank you, Tom DeLonge. Absolutely incredible conversation. Tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe will be back with us. And you know how Linda does it. It's going to be a great show tomorrow night. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kobar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kobar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network syndication, KGRA, The Planet.